Welcome back to BikeBeat. The moment you swing a leg over the 2026 Honda NX650 Retro Scrambler, it feels like a reunion with an old friend, but one who's been to the gym, cleaned up their act, and come back sharper than ever. Honda's ability to fuse heritage and innovation shines through immediately. The proportions are familiar but refined, every curve of the tank and tail carrying an echo of the old Dominator's adventurous spirit. You notice the upright posture, the wide bars that give you leverage over the front wheel, and that slight forward lean that says, "Let's get moving." When you thumb the starter, the engine fires with a low, textured thump, a mechanical heartbeat that's unmistakably Honda but tuned for character this time. There's a subdued rasp through the twin high mount pipes, and though it's not loud, it's soulful. The idle is steady, but when you crack the throttle, the response is immediate and strong through the mid-range. You can tell Honda has focused on usable torque rather than chasing top-end figures. It's TE kind of power that suits both city commuting and open backroads, pulling cleanly without drama. On the move, the chassis feels balanced, not twitchy, not lazy. The front end gives a confident bite into corners, and you can lean with trust even on semi-block pattern tires. The suspension, with around 170 mm of travel, soaks up rough patches gracefully. It's compliant on small bumps but firm enough to keep you connected to the surface. On gravel or dirt, the NX650 feels playful. The bars respond quickly, and the bike's moderate weight means you can steer with your hips or a light tug on the grips. When you stand on the pegs, the transition feels natural. Everything about the bike's ergonomics has been designed to support that scrambler stance. Engine braking is smooth, and thanks to Honda's refined fuel mapping, there's very little jerkiness during throttle transitions. The clutch is light, the gearbox slick, and each shift feels deliberate yet effortless. If Honda has indeed added a slip assist mechanism, it's doing its job quietly, making downshifts drama-free. The brakes have solid bite without being grabby, and the ABS calibration is smart enough to let you modulate confidently even when you're off-road. It feels like the kind of bike you could commute on all week and then take into the mountains on Sunday without swapping a single part. The ride position is one of its strongest suits. The seat height might hover around 830 mm, tall enough to give visibility and control but not so high that it's intimidating. The narrow midsection helps shorter riders get a foot down, while the wide seat ensures comfort over distance. Wind protection is minimal, but that's expected for a scrambler. At cruising speed, the airflow is clean, and the upright stance makes it less tiring than a sportier posture. The instrumentation deserves praise for being clear and minimal. It's not overloaded with menus, you get just what you need. The digital cluster may offer a small color screen that blends old-school aesthetics with modern function. You'll find trip meters, a fuel gauge, gear indicator, and a few basic alerts. Honda could have easily gone overboard with tech, but they've kept the interface intuitive, something riders who appreciate mechanical purity will love. The bike connects emotionally because it doesn't overcomplicate things. In terms of performance numbers, early test reports and estimates suggest the NX650 produces about 55 horsepower and around 58 Nm of torque. It's not a rocket, but it's that perfectly judged sweet spot where the power feels generous, not overwhelming. On highways, the bike will cruise at 120 km/h effortlessly, with a top speed in the 160 to 165 km/h range. It's smooth at mid-range revs, with a gentle pulse through the bars and pegs that reminds you of the single-cylinder nature without numbing your hands. It's mechanical in a good way, organic and engaging. Honda's engineers have likely reworked the cooling and lubrication systems for reliability and lower emissions. You'll probably find an oil cooler integrated neatly into the front, contributing to thermal stability on long rides. The fueling is spot on, and there's a nice linearity to the throttle. Even at slow speeds in traffic, the bike doesn't feel snatchy or temperamental. This balance between smoothness and character is rare in modern singles, and Honda's refinement is clearly at play here. Fuel economy is another strong point. Expect somewhere in the range of 25 to 30 km per liter, depending on riding conditions. With a tank capacity of around 14 liters, that gives you a range approaching 400 kilometers. That's practical touring territory for a scrambler, especially if you're planning weekend getaways or mild adventure rides. As the road gets twisty, the NX650 comes alive. The weight distribution is near perfect, the steering geometry predictable. You can flick it into corners and feel the suspension settle smoothly as you roll on the throttle. The torque delivery encourages a fluid, rhythmic style of riding. It's not about redline heroics, it's about flow. The combination of wide bars, mid-range torque, and supple suspension makes the experience immersive. You start to understand that this bike isn't chasing lap times, it's chasing feelings, the kind you get on quiet country roads or when you crest a hill and see the landscape unfold. Everywhere you look, the details speak to Honda's attention to quality. The welds on the frame are clean, the switchgear tactile, and the fit and finish unmistakably premium for its price bracket. The LED headlamp has that vintage round form but packs modern brightness. The indicators are compact and neatly integrated, while the taillight setup gives off a retro vibe with contemporary execution. The paintwork, available in options like metallic silver, forest green, and matte sand, has depth and texture. The ribbed seat uses high-density foam that resists compression, maintaining comfort on longer rides. Even small touches, like the brushed exhaust guard or embossed Honda wing on the tank, give it presence. From a practical standpoint, the NX650 is easy to live with. Maintenance intervals are generous, and parts availability will benefit from Honda's vast dealer network. The engine architecture should be straightforward enough for DIY maintenance enthusiasts. Accessories like luggage racks, skid plates, or soft pannier mounts expand its utility for touring. There's even talk of an optional quickshifter and heated grips for certain trims, indicating Honda's awareness of its broader customer base. The emotional appeal of the NX650 lies in its honesty. It doesn't try too hard to be an adventure machine, nor does it pander to cafe racer aesthetics. It's authentic to its purpose, a road-biased scrambler with a taste for dirt. It's the kind of motorcycle that fits seamlessly into everyday life, stylish enough for the city, tough enough for backroads, and comfortable enough for the long haul. It has the soul of the old Dominator but the manners of a modern Honda. If you're an enthusiast who appreciates design integrity, mechanical authenticity, and real versatility, this machine ticks all the right boxes. It's not trying to reinvent motorcycling, it's trying to remind us why we fell in love with it in the first place. Whether you're carving through winding mountain roads, exploring unpaved shortcuts, or simply riding to clear your head, the NX650 feels right at home. It invites you to slow down, to enjoy the mechanics of riding, and to savor the journey rather than the destination. The 2026 Honda NX650 Retro Scrambler may not boast the highest horsepower or the most sophisticated tech package, but it radiates something more valuable: authenticity. It's a motorcycle built by people who understand what riders want: an honest, reliable, beautiful machine that rewards you every time you start it up. It's the kind of bike that doesn't just fill a segment, it defines one. And in a world of constant upgrades and electronic distractions, that's exactly what makes it feel timeless.